Well, Chris, a game where I guess at 3 or 4 points it looked like you guys well and truly controlled things, and Collingwood got a run on that's rare, particularly rare against you guys. What did you make of that last quarter in particular?
Yeah, the last quarter was a bit strange for us, and sort of the equation when you play Collingwood a little bit. If you can get it forward, you're going to get some good looks. But late in the last quarter, I reckon we had 4 entries, and it just, that's not going to get it done. And they got the momentum, and I thought they played the situation well. They played well. And there are lots of reasons for us to think that we'll improve. We had a few guys who are off that we know will get better. We'll get a few guys back. And it was one of those games where it was a real challenge trying to cover for some of the things that happened with us during the game. Stuart obviously was the main one when you lose your best player there. And we went in a little light on defenders anyway, and mainly with College Asney being unavailable and Jack Henry too. So then De Koning went down and Stengel went down. So it was it wasn't a seamless night for us by any stretch, but not a terrible performance. I couldn't quite hear exactly what you said at the start, but it felt like for big parts of the game we controlled it. I know they had a lot of the ball, but we didn't think that was hurting us that much. It wasn't ideal, but it wasn't as if they were taking the game away from us. And then late we just got beaten around the contest and got beaten for territory. And as I said, 4 inside 50s when we need to score is going to make it hard.
And what are the initial indications on Stuart's knee, Chris?
No, he was subbed off pretty quickly, so I would be surprised if he plays next week. But beyond that, it's hard to say. So it's one of those ones where they're saying, look, doubt he'll play next week, but don't think it's a really long-termer.
Yep. Did you have a sense at three-quarter time that they were sort of running on a bit stronger than you guys, or not?
No, I didn't quite have that sense. We thought that we needed to be a little better around the stoppages. We gave them too many easy exits, and I thought they were really good at the sort of fall of the ball too. It wasn't just the stoppages, but whenever the ball was kicked long, their ground level players were better than ours for most of the night. But I wasn't, and we weren't thinking this at three-quarter time, but for those first 3 quarters, we kind of looked at it and thought there were plenty of opportunities that we would expect to execute, and hopefully will as the season goes on.
They've been a side that's pushed you pretty close without necessarily getting over the top of you for a couple of years now, and just felt Craig McRae was talking about running power and weak speed and whatever, and they've scored their highest score for 5 years. So I know it's round 1. Like, do you have a feeling that ante's being upped a bit in terms of what sides are going to have to produce to be the best side in the competition this year?
I think most teams think they need to score. I didn't go into this game thinking we're the best team in the comp. I knew that that we would have improvement in us, and we didn't have any room to move really with the best teams. And I thought it was a pretty attacking game. Probably should have been the opening game of the season, really. I find it really hard to second guess what other teams are going to do against us. And my guess is that they play their game. I don't think they think we've got to do something because we've got to beat Geelong. I think they play their game and hope it's going to be good enough. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Sorry, what happened with Sam De Koning? It looked like his knee buckled, and then we saw him come back out in the second half and he was hampered by it. What's the feel with him?
Yeah, he was hampered. It's a similar thing to a minor injury he had at training about 3 weeks ago. And he bounced back really quickly from that, but he was certainly hampered. But even with Stuart going out, there was just no suggestion at all from our medical staff that there was a risk there putting him back on, even though he was hampered. And they know clearly that we wouldn't take a risk.
Did you have any concern?
We'd give up the 4 points before we put Sam De Koning at risk.
Did you have any concerns about the turf, given both those players, when we talked about Stuart and De Koning, both slipped over, and there was quite a few others on the too?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting discussion for others to have. It's distasteful when the coach of the losing team talks about the surface, but it's worthy of discussion. I think.
you off, sorry, what's your feedback from the players? Can you speak to that? Was there any indication to you there might be an issue in that regard?
Yeah, so just again, I'm relaying this. I've got an opinion that I'm going to keep to myself, but the issue is that there are differences on the ground now. Some bits that are really firm and you can keep your feet, and other bits that are really soft and you can't keep your feet. And I guess like the point that is raised, you know, and again, it's not a criticism, it's not my area, but it's been a long time since the grand final. It's the biggest game in the land, and it's the best ground in the world, in my view. So to compromise the surface is a strange decision to make voluntarily. Like if stuff happens and, you know, the weather's beyond your control, fair enough, but it was a known goal, I reckon.
Well, Ollie Henry is obviously in the thick of the theatre aspect of it. How did you see how he handled it, and what was he in the lead up to it as well?
Yeah, he's pretty composed young man. I said pre-game, I keep reminding myself that he and Tanner Bruin are 20, and hopefully they're going to play a lot of good footy for the Cats. I thought they were both good. So I thought Ollie, you know, did some, probably, I think, symbolic of where he's at in his career. He does some really, really special things, and other parts are just, you know, some refinements required. But I thought those two handled the occasion well.
What went through your head, Chris, when he got run down in the goal square on the silver goal?
Yeah. Oh, just stuff happens. Behind closed doors, I'd phrase it differently, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just those things are going to happen. I thought that watching last night's game and tonight, there was a bit of round one rust. You know, across four pretty good teams. And as I said, like, yeah, that stuff's going to happen. The opposition crowd loves it. Good on him. Then he takes a hanger and our crowd goes. Like, I think he handles that stuff really well. So I didn't have any concerns at all.
Can I just ask on that one? This might sound a bit naive, but like Brad Close could have yelled out, "You're hot," couldn't he?
Yeah. But those ones, like, I mean, we can walk through it. It's very, very easy watching on, and those guys would execute that 99 times out of 100. But I thought it was one of those nights where, like, we were out. It just looked like it was a walk-in goal and someone would slip over or, you know, make a little error. Like, it was just, if you can't roll with the punches in round one, you're going to have a really frustrating year as a coaching group.
Chris, you said yesterday.
Tyson Stengel had a couple of knocks during the game, including that really nasty collision. How was he? And also, Hawkins looked like, you know, he missed a big chunk of the season. You know, looked a little bit proppy at times. How's he? Well,
I mean, it's Murphy's Law, isn't it? We took him in. He's probably the prime example of a guy who'll get better. He would be short of a gallop. I think that's reasonable to say. But really early in the game, he copped a knee on knee sort of thing, and then got a cork in his calf. So he was proppy, but it was more because of that. But yeah, we're not denying that. You know, he was a little underdone, but fortunately, better for the run. His foot injury came through really well. So, yeah, no damage done.
So, DeConing, Stengel, Hawkins, would you expect them all to play?
DeConing, Stengel, Hawkins, yep, expect them all to play. So I didn't answer the question about Tyson. So fortunately, in that big collision, he bore most of the brunt on his shoulder.
Yep.
But you know, we didn't even know that until he just went pretty quickly into the concussion protocol, and when that happens, like you just wait until you hear 20 minutes later. Either way, there was no discussion. But talking to him after the game, he said, "No, it's just sort of more my shoulder." But it was a pretty big hit, wasn't it?
Chris, you said yesterday that you wished you'd used Asava Ranigalea as a defender earlier, and you've sent it across the side. What did you think tonight?
I thought he was outstanding. Yeah, my opinion, I place a really high value on those guys that can stand up behind the ball. And I thought, you know, a couple of times, he attacked the ball really well when he kind of had to sit. And I thought other times he was just outstanding when he was out of position. Yeah, I thought that was a really big win for us. Not just tonight, but over the pre-season. I'm excited about what he can do, and yeah, I'll say it again. And we had a pretty settled team, so there are reasons for it. But yeah, maybe we should have pulled the trigger on him back a little bit earlier, because he just looks like a back to me.
Nick Jacobs had plenty of it tonight. Chris had more than anybody else on the ground. Were you leaving him to run free tonight, or was that just sort of how it happened to play the players?
No, it happens a little bit, but I mean, we'll have a look again. But he does. He's a really smart player, and my interpretation is they love him kicking the ball, and so they make sure they get him in a position. He's one of those guys. He gets it even when he's not in best position because he's such a good kick and decision maker. I'm assuming.
Is there any indication how far away Jake Colliers might be in returning?
I think he's on track for round 3.
How about some of the other guys that missed tonight, like Duncan and a few of the where are they?
Duncan a little bit longer, so we're going to hold him back. I said during the week that it's dangerous making these comparisons, but I think he's probably we're in the kind of Paddy Dangerfield headspace from last year where he could have played tonight, but we're going to hold him back a little bit. So unlikely sort of round 2 or 3. Kolajasny pretty soon. Jack Henry's going to be a little while. Don't know on Stewart. Jack Bowes will be available next week. We'll get a few back. Yeah, we're pretty we're pretty optimistic that we can improve pretty quickly.
Just goal as well.
Menegol, no, he's had knee surgery, so he'll be he's more medium term.
Can I give you a bit of a philosophical one to finish? You're
Yeah,
talking
let's
about
do it.
scoring.
Yeah.
If you're going to lose, are you happier losing having scored decently, or would you rather lose a dogfight?
No, I'd prefer to lose scoring, but it was not exactly the way we wanted to play in terms of the ease in which they scored. We thought we handed them goals, and that kind of hasn't been the way we played for a while. But again, more round 1 rust, I think, for us than the system breaking down. And we had some guys that are off that have earned the right for us to persist with them for a bit.
Thanks, Chris.